Are you kind of bummed out that you have to take a reading class at Long Beach City College? We reading professors hope we can change your mind. And we've asked students like you to help by sharing their own experiences about what really goes on in a reading class. They volunteered for the project and wrote their own comments, so this is legit.
Hello, my name is Carrie, and I'm an active reader. An educator named Thorndike said, "Reading is thinking." I read well, however, there is more to it than the ability to articulate words. In my reading class at Long Beach City College, I learned a new word. The word is metacognition. Metacognition can be defined as thinking about thinking, and good readers use metacognitive strategies to think about and have control over their reading. Because of my reading courses at Long Beach City College and my wonderful instructors, I am an active reader.
Hello, my name is Herman, and I'm here to tell you why students should consider taking reading classes first when setting up an academic program. Reading transfers to all the studies you will take, whether it be English, math, psychology, geography, architecture. You need to understand what you are reading. It is called comprehension. The vocabulary that is part of reading is a must for every student. When going on an interview for a job, it is the words that come out of your mouth and the delivery of ideas that get an employer's attention. My vocabulary was atrocious for a mature adult before coming to college. Now, I am astonished at the richness of the words and ideas I can infuse into my everyday conversation. This is possible because of my reading class. Before I enrolled in reading, I never thought of picking up a book. But with my continued participation in reading classes, I now understand the principles of reading an essay, the art that goes into being able to understand it before I write about it. Writing a thesis for an essay isn't easy, but taking reading first has made it a smooth transition for me. I have had great reading instructors who have made it a joy to learn. Reading, to me, is a luxury. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabriela. I believe every student should take Read 82 because it really helps you improve in your reading, vocabulary, and also your writing. I have been able to use the skills I learned in my reading class and apply them to my English class. Learning about the topic, main idea, and supporting details helped out my writing. As a result, I have become a better writer as well as a better reader. Surprisingly, I used critical thinking and analysis in my Spanish class. I had my reading class on Friday and Spanish 9 on Monday and Wednesday. Whatever I learned in reading, I was able to transfer those critical thinking skills to Spanish. For example, I knew how to analyze the writer's background and to apply it to the readings. Of course, my comprehension of each unit was much stronger because of that thinking process. Now I feel like I understand everything I read because I know exactly what it is important enough to annotate.
Hi, my name is Martin. Reading classes are essential for students to learn how to absorb the material they will be studying throughout their college courses. By learning the breakdown of how an essay or a paragraph is written, I am now able to read an article, figure out the structure, and see what is actually important, what the author wanted to communicate. I have found that studying written material is less intimidating because of the skills that I have obtained from this reading class. Now, I feel confident that in my future classes, I will have a better understanding of what I am reading. I will be able to retain the material, which will give me the tools I will need to achieve a successful grade. This class may make a difference of a student receiving an A in a class rather than a C. Learning how to understand and comprehend what you are reading is a valuable skill to possess. A metaphor that I like to use is the fuel injector system in a high-performance car. It is one of the most important part of the combustion system, yet we never think about how important it is, never giving it any consideration until it is brought to our attention. Reading is as powerfully important as that fuel injector system. And I hope I have brought that to your attention.
Hi, I'm Tanya, and as a non-native English speaker, every learned skill is crucial for my academic performance in daily life. To my surprise, the most helpful and important skills that I acquired at Long Beach City College were results of taking reading courses. They give me the tools to work more efficiently with complicated textbooks and to study academic material thoroughly in order to gain the knowledge I need for a future productive career. Not only did I attain necessary and useful reading as well as critical thinking skills, but I also enriched my vocabulary and wrote with a greater ease, clarity, and refinement. I wouldn't have thought that reading classes could have such an impact, yet they have.
Hi, I'm Gladys. Going back to college after 15 years was a blast for me. I enrolled in the START Learning Committee, which included a reading class. I want to tell you that my professor created a great learning environment for her students and provided us with a wonderful and most rewarding experience. I enjoyed her class thoroughly. We learned many lessons. For one, we learned vocabulary that I now see and use in my other classes. Also, there were reading selections about ideas and people I wanted and needed to learn about. I especially remember the ones about Malcolm X, Benjamin Franklin, and Jackie Robinson. Best of all, we had opportunities to bring our own experiences and knowledge to the class discussion and even to a class project. My instructor's constant encouragement to work hard will never leave me. She is passionate about her work and cares deeply for her students. I was blessed to be a part of Read 882, and I mean it. Her dedication to instilling thinking principles and her love for teaching are evident, but she tells me that all the instructors work as hard and feel the same love, so I encourage other students to take a reading class. I cannot say enough about my experience as a reading student at LBCC and the foundation for learning I built there.
Hi, my name is Alvaro. Taking reading classes at LBCC has helped me in many ways. Before I took reading, I didn't even realize that I struggled with comprehension. I knew how to read the words from a page, that was the easy part. Understanding what I was reading was the difficult part. I began to realize that a weak vocabulary was a major issue. Since I didn't understand the words that I was reading, my comprehension as a whole was severely affected. When I enrolled in a reading class, I thought it was going to be boring. I had the idea that reading was boring all through high school. That concept went pretty much out the window when I attended my first reading class. I definitely loved it because it was fast-paced and interesting. What made it so great was that the paragraphs and selections were up to date and actually pertained to the world outside my classroom. What I liked about that is that the textbooks were filled with actual words used in college and in other courses, allowing me to make them a part of my everyday vocabulary. I know that taking a reading course will better my chances in learning the material for my other classes and help me become a successful student.
Hi, I am Minu. English is my second language, and there are lots of words that I don't know. Reading is a good way to increase new words. I even learned how to find the meaning of some words without using a dictionary. It was hard, but I had one of the most wonderful teachers that always supported me to feel comfortable. So, one thing that I have learned from reading is vocabulary and grammar structure. Reading is very important, and the more I read, the better my vocabulary gets. My instructor always says, let the text teach you, and it does. I constantly learn something new when I'm reading, not only phrases and words, but how to read in a way that makes you interested in reading, engaged in the reading. I have learned that making comments while I'm reading, as if I were talking to the author, will help me to understand what the articles or essays are talking about. One thing I have learned about reading is that I use it on a daily basis. Reading has helped me become informed, empowered, full of knowledge, and it kept me up to date on world events. This is a tool that will open up many opportunities for a better and brighter future. It is sad that many people don't take reading seriously because once you learn it, no one can take it away from you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I would like to tell you my experience with the reading classes at Long Beach City College. Reading has always been a passion of mine. However, novels and entertaining books were always on the top of my list of good reading. Once in college, my reading had to become more academic and education-based. Sadly, my comprehension in this area was poor. I always thought of myself as a skilled reader, but I found that I lacked the ability to outline and understand key points in my challenging textbooks. Taking the reading classes really helped my comprehension of many types of material and made me successful in classes such as history, English, political science, and numerous others. Reading academic books became more and more manageable because I learned how to annotate the material that was worth highlighting and to make outlines that summed up the main ideas for each passage. Thanks to the reading classes, I have become a more capable student with an artillery of comprehension skills at my disposal.
Hi, my name is Charles Williams. In 2008, I entered Long Beach City College after 31 years of being absent. The first class I enrolled in was Read 882, and thus began my thinking process. I began to look more closely at sentences and sentence structure, to make emphasis and to distinguish fact from opinion. Reading has developed my writing skills as well, helping me put all information in order so that it makes sense. All these things gave me the knowledge needed to understand whatever I was reading, especially my textbook, in every single other class I took. For example, in other classes like history or sociology, the instructor will ask for an essay to be written or an analysis of a concept. It is because of reading that I am able to write the essay and analyze the concept. All in all, reading has proved to be the single most valuable asset of my education.
LBCC Reading, a blast, a blessing, and not boring. Reading department contact numbers are on our website at www.lbcc.edu/reading. Offices are located in the LAC Library, first floor.